Hi everyone. Hello. Today we're going to be talking about Sandra Mogensen's amazing database full of sheet music by female composers that is now available, and their project and the way that they brought it together, and I'm so excited. Hello. Hi everyone. You can follow that account at Piano Music She Wrote. Hi everybody, and we're gonna chat about their project and their Instagram page, and also how to access the database of the female composers, and also that if you record those the music by female composers, they will feature you on their Instagram page. Hi everyone. Hi everyone who's joining. Hi. I'm just gonna wait for Sandra to get here, and then we'll start chatting about her project. Yeah, so here she is. I'm gonna add her in. Hi DJ. Okay. Hello, hi everyone. I hope you're doing okay in this heat wave. We're like sweating it out. Hello.
Hey,
hi.
hi,
Thank you so much for joining me today.
Oh my goodness.
I'm so excited for our interview. It's gonna be awesome.
Same.
Oh my gosh.
Thank you.
My whole camera's falling. Okay, first I'm going to tell everyone who you are.
Okay.
Hi, this is Sandra Mogensen. I'm so excited she's here. We actually haven't met in person, but I found the account on Instagram, and it's really cool. And you guys have created this amazing project. So Sandra is a Canadian pianist, and she went to school in Western Ontario and is now based there, and also got a master's in vocal coaching at Westminster Choir College and in my hometown, which is really cool. Yay! And she's been traveling and performing and teaching and accompanying, arranging, composing, performing, and done basically everything that a musician does in the 21st century, which is really awesome and super cool. And you and your colleague Erica Sipes have created this such amazing database of female composers, and this incredible project that I think you guys are still working on, and it's it's so cool, and I'm so excited to talk about it today.
Oh, so great to have your enthusiasm and to share the.
Totally.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so I think we'll just jump right into it. Do you want to talk about, how did you come up with the idea, and with, gathering all these materials, and how did it come about?
Okay, thank you. I always find myself telling stories a long way, so hopefully I'll not do that. You can just go,
good.
Thank you. Get to the next point. But yeah, so I guess for my personal entry point into this, back in January of 2019, I all of a sudden started to realize, wait a minute, why am I not playing female composers? And I started to find all kinds of incredible music, all on IMSLP. Because I was nomadic at that time, that was my only source. I had my iPad, IMSLP. So it was so exciting to me to find all this gorgeous music. I mean, I was basically weeping at the finds that I was making, and that it dawned on me finally that, wait, I've kind of accepted this lie that we've been told, maybe not in your training, but certainly in my training. There was no mention of female composers, and if there was, well, they weren't really, So so I started to okay, I need to put this together as a concert, and then in no time, no, I also need to do recording. And then another day or two went by. Wait. I have to do a series of recordings from composers born mid-19th century all the way up till nowadays. So I did. I started working on my first volume of this En pleine lumière project. And that first volume came out in 2019. Anyway, so that's
so cool. What's on that program?
So the first volume is 10 composers, and that's kind of going to be the template for each of the volumes. And each one will deal with the next generation.
Cool. So is this very early music?
So this is composers born between 1840 and 1870.
Okay.
I figured I'd start there because piano music of that time is interesting to me.
It
Composers
is, for
use the
definitely.
piano with
Yeah.
color and whatnot. And I
Yeah.
figured Fanny and Clara, they're before that, they're fine. They can manage without me. So I started there. So
Yeah.
there's two Swedish composers, Valborg Aulin, Laura Netzel, two Germans, what was it, Louisa Adolphe Lebeau and Sophie Menta. There's Helen Hopkirk, who was born Scottish but ended up in the US. Amy Beach,
Love Amy Beach.
Mel Bonis, Chaminade.
I
Anyway,
love something that.
so
Wow.
two pieces from
How
each
did
one,
you how did you
miniatures.
how did you decide on those composers to be the first volume? Were
You
you
know
just
what?
reading a lot of IMSLP music and
I
that
was
was
just
what spoke to
reading
you?
IMSLP, and as it still is now, it's tricky to find uh, female composers in that huge IMSLP amazing database, and then to find female composers who wrote piano music, and
Yeah,
then to find narrow that down further. That I was looking for pieces like miniatures, mostly like up to 5-6 minutes per piece, so that I could feature two from each composer to give kind of a
totally.
sampler
Yeah,
of all of these.
yeah,
So I think that's 2.5 years ago, and I think IMSLP has got a huge lot more than then. There's still so much more needed
yeah,
to be uploaded, but so I felt like I didn't have a huge range of choice. Um, I within my parameters there. So anyway, I worked on that project, recorded it, and released it in 2019. But meanwhile, of course, I'm blathering on the internet about my project and
yeah.
on Twitter, and that's where I had this acquaintance with Erica Sipes, who I think we both have been on Twitter for 10 or 12 years and have been connected there. And I've always felt kindred with her on
Hmm.
just things that she says. I'm like, yeah. So she, meanwhile, had her own experience of being asked to do a concert with a flute player down in Virginia, where she lives, all female composers. And that to her was also new.
Yeah,
So from there, she, started to notice my blathering on about my project. And so we started to, anyway, so
to work together. Yeah,
fast forward to February last year, just before the pandemic. And I was doing a
yeah.
concert tour in the US. And one of my stops was with Erica there in Virginia. So I did a couple concerts there, and we, got together and met for the first time and
That's so
started to
fun.
really have a conversation about this.
Yeah,
Yeah, female composers, but it's so hard to find the music, you know? And this conversation kind of kept going, and then here I find myself in this place in Canada now in the pandemic, and like, oh, yeah, but what about my recording project? I've done one, but I have 5 more volumes to do.
oh
Like,
my gosh.
how I recorded the first volume in Germany because I wanted to work with a female recording engineer,
Cool. Yeah,
and it was easier to find in Germany because it's
yeah.
one word. Tonmeisterin is a female recording engineer.
Okay,
So
cool.
I had found an amazing person there to work with. But here I am now in the pandemic from March on last year. Well, how do what? I thought I'd really found my focus to work on this project. So that has to be, that recording sessions got postponed and postponed and postponed and postponed. I've just before signing on, heard from my
Oh, yay.
producer. So we're
Hooray.
working out the next volume. But
That's so
anyway,
exciting.
I'm so thrilled. Big announcements coming soon. But anyway, so because of that, we're all like, shifting gears, and how do we do what we do now? We continued this conversation, Erica and I, and we thought, we got time. We're just here in our houses.
Nothing but time. Yeah.
So we thought we'd make it easier for pianists to find the piano music that's there on IMSLP composed by women. You can search for women composers,
Yeah.
but then you have to go through every darn one to figure out what piano pieces they did.
So
So
did you
we did
guys end
that
up, I was going to say, is that what you
over
did?
months last summer,
Oh my gosh.
spring, summer, fall. Yeah, so we have, I started at A of the female composers on ISLP, and Erica started at, well, she calls it Z, but of course it's actually Z. And
Yeah.
we, and so we met in the middle,
Oh my
two.
gosh. So you were just reading through all the music on there, or
Yeah,
were
yeah.
you researching every single composer listed on IMSLP?
Yeah, like, so we went through every female name
Wow.
there, every composer who happened to be a woman. And then we had to click on every piece
Oh
to
my
see if it was
gosh.
a piano piece. And then as we see the piano music, we of course notate it in our massive directory and take notes. Like, maybe I'd like to play this piece and record it. So we accumulated this sort of collection of pieces that we could start from to actually start our YouTube channel from. So
Yeah. So
by
you guys,
now we're
wait, let me
at a,
just
yes.
interrupt you for 1 second. So
Please.
not only did you go through the entire IMSLP database, is this like an Excel sheet? Like, what is it? Where can we find it? How can we
Yeah,
access it? How
yeah,
can the world access it?
yeah. Well, you can find it most easily by going, well, there's two ways.
Link
You
in
just
bio.
go to pianomusicshewrote.com
Okay.
and you'll see a tab there about PMSW directory, and you just go that way. And it's just
That's awesome.
$15 US. We thought we should have some exchange for it because, well, we did put in a
Yeah,
massive number of hours.
absolutely.
Um, Yeah, and then you can also find it under any of our YouTube videos. There's a link uh,
Yeah.
to that
Okay.
website. Yeah,
So you guys created this database, which is now accessible, and everyone can access it from their link in bio and on the
yeah,
website. And you also started recording this music on your YouTube
exactly.
channel, and you
Yeah,
record one every week, right? And we can,
yeah.
and okay,
Each
cool.
of us, it averages out to. Sometimes we, one person has two or three in a row, and then the next week
Yeah.
the other person does. But it averages out that we take turns.
Yeah.
Twice a week, we're uploading ourselves playing the pieces that really excited us first and foremost, and there's such a long list. Like, we're already
I'm
at 100
sure. I'm
videos or
sure.
so,
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
and like I have like all these scores that I gotta, when will I record? Oh, I gotta do these. So because there's so much great stuff, and we continually update this directory. We have this funny thing with Erica and me. We are so complementary. Like, my interests and skills are kind of different than hers. So we, like, between us, we cover it. But she is more into this idea of a spreadsheet than I am. Like, I've had like, oh God, Excel, on my, now I see the value of it, but I'm just not like
I
excited
know.
about that
It's a lot
kind of,
of
that's not my,
administrative work. Yeah.
that's just not my kind of brain.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
the Instagram creating the silly meme-ish things.
I'm all about that.
But anyway, so we were calling it a spreadsheet from the beginning. And then
Yeah.
all of a sudden I was like, wait a minute, who wants to buy a spreadsheet? Ew, that sounds terrible. So we rebranded it, and it's now called the PMSW directory.
Yeah.
It is actually a spreadsheet, but
Yeah, but like an incredible resource. I mean, it's
it's,
amazing. It
yeah.
must have been like hours and hours of work.
I think
What
there's
was
now
the
over 1,000, over 3,000 pieces of music there.
That's amazing. It's
Yeah.
incredible. What was the first piece that you discovered that you didn't know before and
Oh
was
my
like really
gosh.
spoke to you?
Well, I mean, that would go back to when I was starting to work on my recording back in 2019.
Yeah.
Um, a couple of pieces by Louise Adolphe Lebeau, the German composer. Just
Okay.
small pieces from her
What's her
preludes.
last name?
Lebeau, so it's a French last name.
Like the beautiful.
Yeah, the beautiful.
Okay.
Lebeau. And
Uh-huh.
then she has his two first names, Louise Adolphe.
Okay.
So yeah, those, like, they're not big technical showpieces or anything, just really lovely
Beautiful
little
pieces.
miniatures from her preludes. I think it's Opus 12 or
Mm.
Opus 8. Anyway,
And what
I
time
remember
period is that?
weeping. That's from that middle.
1840s, right?
Yeah,
1850s.
she's
Mm.
born in like 1850
Wow.
or 60, something like that.
Is that on
Um,
the on your YouTube channel as well, or is it just on your CD?
yeah, one of those is, and
Okay, cool.
the other is actually in our initial launching our YouTube video. Welcome to our new channel. It's in the
Oh wow.
background. Yeah, so
Awesome. Okay, cool. So everyone check that out.
so they're just such lovely pieces. I need to record more of those soon, but we have to kind of keep like
I mean, I
don't
think
get fixated on one composer, but like show all this spectrum of
it's also
who
like
there is.
amazing the amount of music that you've probably learned even over the past
Oh,
year.
the
I mean,
repertoire. Yeah.
yeah, it's like your repertoire must have doubled in size.
Oh, more, way more.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
we've
yeah.
each got at least 50 new pieces in since August last
Which
year.
is crazy. And they're all miniatures, which is so nice because you can present them all or,
Yeah,
use them as
exactly.
encores or, create a whole program out of them.
Or set of recordings, maybe.
Yeah, yeah,
I mean, we have
absolutely.
to, certainly it'd be nice to put sonatas into the mix into our YouTube
Right.
channel, but because of the pace of having
Yeah,
to
you
put
guys
out
are
something
uploading like
every,
1 week every week.
we need to have something we can
Ah,
learn fairly quickly, you know?
the ultimate female composer challenge.
Yeah, kind of, yeah. We're not going to
Um,
do a sonata a week, no.
no, that would be crazy. Are these recordings, like before you guys recorded them, was it easy to find recordings of these pieces or there weren't
No.
existing?
And that's why
Yeah.
we decided to do the
Hmm.
YouTube channel, you know, because I think a lot
Yeah.
of students and a lot of pianists probably, they don't necessarily start a piece from reading it. That's how I first
Yeah.
start a piece, but I think a lot of people like to hear the piece first and then read it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so most of these pieces have not been recorded.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was just thinking about what you're saying in the beginning of the interview, like in formal education, right? I think that we're like just starting, like now in 2021, we're starting to like hear more about female composers and hear more about
Yeah.
their life. And, I think that there are like scholars who focus on that, but it's not necessarily
Yeah.
part of like Western
I mean,
conservatory music, which is a
I
shame. So it's like, it's great that, this database is available. I know schools are starting to incorporate that.
I think it's really exciting how far we've come since,
Yeah.
like, I can see a huge difference since January of 2019 when I started into this world to
Hmm.
now. There's such a network of people now who are exploring female composers. I and so much more available, so much more published already and recorded. But man, we have so far to go. I was just looking up the Royal Conservatory, not to diss them, but the Canadian Royal Conservatory examination system.
Uh-huh.
I was looking up the history exams, and like still that
Nothing.
syllabus is out for like 5 years, and like in the one exam there's two. You have to go into depth on Clara Schumann, and then there's one other Canadian composer. And then I looked at the next grade, and it's like kind of similar, like two of. Otherwise, it's like Bach, Handel, Vivaldi, all those important guys.
Yeah.
But like there are important women too, and
Right.
we
Yeah.
have a long way to go still. But just again regarding that, oh my God, I just blah blah blah. So,
That's
can you
awesome.
tell I'm excited about what I do?
I'm excited. It's so exciting to
But
hear about it.
this recording, En pleine lumière, that I did the first recording of in 2019. So the idea came to me in January, and then it was being, like putting it together for the publisher and all that in August, I think. So from January to August, I was like, I don't want to put music by women composers on the title anymore. Like,
Yeah.
no, I don't need
It's
to.
just composers, right?
Yeah, it's just composers born
Roma
in this span of
Yeah.
time.
Right.
But like when I started it, it seemed like, oh, it has to be called women composers. I'm so, excited about the progress that
Yeah.
the world is making. and
Absolutely.
yet
Yeah,
needs to make so much more. But anyway,
totally. Okay, so I guess we covered a lot of the questions I was going to ask you. I was
just have a
gonna,
little.
yeah, I was gonna ask, had you played any of the pieces that you're recording before, or were many of them I know that were a lot of them were discoveries, but were any of them pieces that you had known before?
Not at all.
Not at all.
Not at
Hmm.
all. It's not that I hadn't played music written by a single woman.
Yeah,
My mother was my piano teacher from day one till I went to university.
yeah.
Like literally day one. I think I was like one and but anyway,
Oh.
um, and she had this cool kind of awareness of, well, at that time 20th century music, and she would have her students do projects on Canadian contemporary composers, and
Cool.
would always ensure that every program we did, every little recital we did, we had something, by a contemporary Canadian composer, and so many of those were
Yeah,
women. But as far as the historical composers before that, not a single one.
totally.
Yeah,
It's so
and
cool. You could discover so much of it. I mean,
yeah,
it's really awesome.
it's incredible. And going back further, like now into like Mariana Martinez,
I love Mariana Martinez.
who was born exactly halfway between Haydn and Mozart, and was huge in her day there. And then,
Hmm.
back to Josefina Auernhammer, and then back further to those Baroque composers like Gambarini and Jacques Deguerre and Anna Bon. And like, there's a lot of stuff there, but a lot of it is not really nicely published. It's,
Okay.
needing somebody to stick it in finale or something.
Yeah.
Um, but it's happening, and it's so exciting to discover, like, already back, born in what, 1665? Is that Jacques de la Guerre? Getting all my dates mixed up, but
Early,
like
right? Yeah.
like incredible, like just a regular composer, you
Hmm.
know,
Yeah.
a
Can you
great
tell
one.
us about a specific composer and piece that you've performed recently, and kind of like about the
Mm,
music and what you liked about
mm.
it?
Oh my gosh, there's so many.
Yeah. Maybe like a
Ah,
recent YouTube video that we can watch and listen.
yeah. Okay. Well, one of the discoveries that I was really excited about, because it just was a piece that just seemed to fit me. There's this composer, a British composer, who I had heard of through my work on. I made an ebook regarding composers of art songs, female
Oh,
composers of art songs,
cool.
and I had heard of her there. Her name is Frances Allitsen.
Okay.
Allitsen, Allitsen, and so I knew that she was a song composer. So this is right up my alley since I do so much work with singers. I found that there was a piano piece. I think it's the only one in IMSLP by her.
Mm.
And so I pulled it out and printed it off. And I mean, as soon as I played through it, I was just like, where have you been all my life? This
Oh,
piece is just it's a nocturne. And it's so, just a satisfying pianistically kind of piece to play, and very passionate and very dark and melancholy, and just suits me perfectly, especially these days. Um,
do you hear influence from like the songs in her piano playing, or do you
I mean,
feel
it
like it's
is very lyrical. Yeah, yeah,
interesting? Cool. I'm excited to listen to it.
yeah. I think I recorded that one like maybe in November or December. I can kind of picture I was there when I did it. Um,
Yeah.
the trick has been, because here in Ontario we're in pretty serious lockdown for like ever.
Yeah.
So I haven't had access to a grand piano for months and months and months. So
Yeah.
that's a bit challenging to just do it in your living room. But
Yeah.
anyway,
I know we've all been like performing in our living room.
yeah, exactly. But
The
that
new
that
stage
that
is
piece
Instagram and YouTube.
that piece I did have a chance to do on a grand piano, so that was suitable for that piece. Um,
Yeah.
I would say there's another thing that kind of maybe sort of halfway answers your question. Um, you know how there's these kind of, we call them war horses. These pieces, like, come on, do we have to hear that again? For
Like
example,
Waldstein Sonata.
yeah, that, okay, that's all right. Worse though would be like Furilis
Oh yeah, for
and
sure.
um yeah, I mean Claire de Lune is beautiful, but you know, Troy
How many
Marai,
times can you listen to it?
Troy Marai by Schumann. Okay, that's lovely. Um, but why? Why over and over and over and over? So I've been kind of mentally collecting like
Replacement
substitutions,
pieces.
you know, like if
Yeah.
you need to have like sour cream in your baking, substitute yogurt and vinegar instead or whatever. So
Oh, I think I saw you post a substitute for Fur Elise. What was the name
yes,
of the piece? It
yeah,
was
so
really
that's,
similar.
it's gorgeous. It's by Louise Farrenc.
Mm. Oh,
um
I love her. I like her playing
oh,
her
so
pieces.
beautiful.
Yeah.
So why do I always get the words impromptu and intermezzo mixed up? But it's one of those. um I think it's called impromptu.
Yeah.
It's a two-page little piece, and
Do-
it has, you know, like for these, it has a little bit of bump, 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 you know, substitutes nicely.
but
Yeah,
it's longer. It's longer, isn't it?
yeah. The
Yeah.
Fur-Elise is longer. This gets to the point. And yeah, I had a compare and contrast chart between the two pieces. Um,
Wow.
yeah, I would really highly recommend anytime you hear someone wanting to do release, if you're a piano teacher,
Ask them
excuse
to play
me,
the
here.
Do you think was the Frank written after or before the Furleys?
Oh, well, she's born in I think 1804, so
Uh-huh.
she's a
Must
little
have been
younger.
after. Uh-huh.
Could have been, yeah.
Interesting.
And then I had a substitution in idea for Claire de Lune. It was a chaminade piece. It's actually on my on pleine.
Oh, awesome.
What's
Okay.
it called?
Everyone checking it.
Feuille d'Album. Feuille
Oh yeah.
d'Album, maybe
Yeah,
some,
yeah, yeah.
something
Uh-huh.
like that. Yeah. So I'm accumulating a list of, you know, when you want to
Pedagogical pieces.
substitutions. If you feel drawn to play this, no, do this instead.
Play this one instead. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So that's been fun.
That's
Yeah.
so cool. Um, yeah, so can we talk about your recording project? You're going to record five more,
Yeah.
or
Yeah,
have
exactly.
you already chosen the repertoire for those
So
volumes that are coming
I
out?
chose the repertoire for volume two quite soon after I chose volume one. It was
Hmm.
actually spring of 2019 where, oh yeah, just these personal little stories of my nomadic existence for a couple years in there. I ended up back here visiting my mom for a few days, and then I was to head to Europe, to Denmark first, which is kind of like my second home. And
Hmm.
the day before I was to go, my cousin who was going to house me said, sorry, I can't have you. I don't know what had happened, but so
Oh
I was
no.
like, oh God, I have to arrive and not have a
Oh,
place to stay.
it's so
Hmm,
stressful.
so stressful. And then I went to the airport anyway, just in Detroit, which is just like an hour from here, and waited and waited and waited, delay. Oh, sorry, actually, your flight is completely canceled now because our company is completely bankrupt as of now.
Oh,
So that was
oh my
clear,
God.
clear that I shouldn't be going that way. So I came back and had an extra 6 or 7 weeks here.
Oh wow.
And that's when I was like, well, what am I going to do with this time? So I chose the repertoire for
The
volume
repertoire
two,
for volume two.
even though I
Wow, that was
was
a
not
great
quite,
use of time.
yeah, I hadn't quite recorded volume one yet. So that has morphed a bit because what is that now? Over 2 years that I've been waiting to record that volume two.
That's
So it
so
has morphed,
exciting.
and I love it. I love the program for volume two so much.
Is
It's
this also 1840s to 1870s?
no, so that's the next. It's now the next generation, 1870 to 1900.
Wow, very
Yeah,
exciting.
and it's really interesting musical language. You know, so much variety, because things really start to branch
Yeah,
out in the 20th
are there
century.
impressionists on that recording?
I don't know if you'd call it that. I would say there's just every kind of beautiful. It's such gorgeous music. I can't wait. I can't wait to do it.
Oh,
I
so
can't.
tell us what's on it so we know. What should we listen
Oh,
for?
it should be a surprise.
Okay.
Yeah, so there's an Australian composer, actually Tasmanian, in fact,
Wow.
named Kitty Parker,
Okay.
Catherine Parker, Kitty Parker.
Okay.
There is Dora Pejacevic, the Croatian composer.
Cool.
There's this gorgeous Polish composer, Paula Salit. So that's Zalit. And she
Mhm.
apparently was a prodigy, like an actual incredibly gifted prodigy. Like one of the pieces I think that I'm going to use, she wrote when she was like 13 or 14, and
Wow.
it's
Yeah.
incredibly beautiful. She was sent to Vienna as a teenager, and like signed her up with all kinds of major teachers at that point. She was just incredible, and yet,
Wow.
have you heard of her before? I hadn't.
No. Wow.
Yeah, so there's, yeah, it's just, I love designing programs, to make them kind of a cohesive shape so that
Hmm.
one piece leads to the next. So I will be doing crowdfunding virtual recitals.
Awesome. That's
So
so
you'll hear
cool.
the music in advance. Yeah.
That's very exciting. Is this all, and just to go back to your database, is that all music that you discovered based on sight reading all these pieces and going through the repertoire?
So volume two is not all from IMSLP
Okay.
because now we get into public domain is not necessarily a thing for all
Right.
of them, depending on
Yeah, yeah,
when they
yeah.
died. Like Taillefer is one of the composers there, Boulanger. Some of the music is not available on MSLP. I guess some of it is, some of it isn't. It's kind of
Yeah.
inconsistent. So yeah, it's been a lot more research to find the scores for this project,
Right.
the
Yeah.
volume two. And I think partly it's the public domain issue, and also they would have lived through at least one world war, maybe two.
Hmm.
So, it's possible that a lot of stuff got lost during
Yeah.
those
Or
times of,
destroyed.
yeah,
Right.
times of upheaval. And also, I think getting into the first chunk of the 1900s, we start to see female artists being erased or pushed to the side. So,
Yeah.
yeah, it's been a lot of, sometimes a lot of like yelling into the space. Whoever cleaned up after you, what did you do with her stuff?
Yeah. Where is it?
Yeah. So yeah, it's taken a lot to find stuff, and then
I can imagine. It's like a lifelong project.
well, it's. I mean, I had a program in April of 2019, and then now it's morphed and it's become even more, I think, cohesive and juicy and yummy.
That's so exciting.
So yeah,
That's amazing. So do you think that going forward, you have these 5 volumes of music by female composers
yeah,
from different from different eras? Do you think
yeah.
that you'll continue to play female music after? Will you go back and start another project, or what do you think will happen?
I mean, I am very dedicated. Like, there's no question that I'm going to just continue and make sure that this En pleine lumière project is 6 volumes, because I want to get to
Totally.
like 30-year spans for each one, and I want to get to women born from 1990 on. Like, I think that's
Yeah, that
super
would be like
exciting,
fascinating to
so
hear
that it's
music
like
from
a
them.
real overview. So, so far it's self-funded and like crowd-funded. So
Sorry.
yeah, it's big. It's big, but I'm sure
That's
it'll
that's
work out
amazing.
somehow. And then
I'm sure it will. Yeah.
at a certain point, uh, like I'd like to let that spill over into doing more repertoire written by women for voice and piano. Done some focus on that, but of course, there's
Yeah.
no working with singers right now.
Right, but maybe hopefully soon.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Wow, that's
So
amazing. That would be so cool. Yeah, to expand the genre and like see what's out there. It's really awesome for everyone to have a resource and to, hear at least one recording of music that's fallen
yeah,
into, you know.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a blossoming field, I think. The time is right, right? And for
Yeah.
me, you hear people say, well, I want to, work towards gender balance in my programming, and maybe work towards getting 50% of my repertoire by women and 50 by men. But
Yeah.
for me, I'm looking at it more like over my lifetime, up till 2019, I basically played only men. So now
Yeah.
that was a lot of decades of just men. Not telling you how many decades, but
Yeah.
quite a few. And
Yeah.
then from here on, to balance that, well, that has to be pretty much 100% women now.
Yeah.
I mean,
I mean, it's an
I
amazing
played
project.
Scriabin though recently, and he's
I
a guy.
know. You played and you recorded such a beautiful recording. It was
Oh, it was
wonderful.
such a nice opportunity that you
Yeah, I
gave
think
us
I
all.
have to make my next challenge though, female composer. Right? It's gotta be
Right?
something like this.
Yeah,
If
yeah,
we're
yeah.
filling in the gaps, we might as well start here.
And that's something I would also maybe say. There's probably lots of pianists by the look of it in
Yeah.
your. So on our YouTube channel, we have this Friends video project where any pianist of any
Yes,
level,
let's talk
kids,
about
adults,
that.
professionals, whoever you are, um, just find a piece in IMSLP composed by a woman and make a recording for us, and we'll put it on our
And you'll
channel.
feature it on the Instagram page, right? That's so exciting.
Yeah, on our YouTube. Yeah. So,
Where would you recommend someone starting if they haven't like, which composer do you think composers are friendly?
I mean, that's like, that's
I
such a
know it's an
huge.
impossible question.
What composer, like, if you were just talking about all the men, like, what composer would you start with? Like, Bartok, Bach? I don't know.
I guess maybe they could choose like an era. Maybe that's
Yeah.
better.
I
So
mean,
like
I
an era
think
guy.
that, like, look at the YouTube channel. Just there's playlists of different levels or different countries, and
Awesome.
just start listening, and or get the PMSW directory and just
Yes,
go that one.
sight read through it
You
all.
know, it's an amazing resource, IMSLP. I
Yeah.
mean, life
I mean,
changing.
and now you guys have created an even more amazing resource for us,
Well,
which is like
it's
really awesome.
an adjunct to it. Yeah. So, but
Yeah.
anyone is welcome to join us in that project, and it doesn't have to be a fancy video. And even if you're shy about videoing, just do like I did for my Scriabin video. I didn't feel like getting dressed that day, so I just did a
Yeah.
hands video.
It's enough.
You
It was
know,
beautiful.
that's fine.
Yeah. This is so awesome. And you guys are constantly updating the list, right? So it's like
Yeah.
always, taken care of and it's not going out of date.
Erica is
Yeah.
amazing at that. She's more on top of that than I am. And I think she said this month, I forget, it was like 60 some or 80 some new pieces had been
Wow.
uploaded in the last month to
Wow, 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 wow,
IMSLP.
wow.
So
Wow. That's incredible.
yeah, so there's
Amazing.
lots to choose from. And
Okay.
there's well over 400 composers now in IMSLP,
That's so awesome.
as far as women goes.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
amazing. I mean,
Mm.
thank you so much for, sharing what you did and your amazing project and all your work that you provided. It's like
Oh,
for the piano community, I think it's so necessary and it's really awesome that you guys took the time to do that and record all this music. So everyone who's listening, please make sure to subscribe to their YouTube channel and listen to all the recordings and check out their Instagram
awesome.
page. You guys are doing so much amazing work and it's awesome to
Aw,
see that.
thank you so
So,
much, Rita. And
yeah.
like, yeah, it's just that we didn't want it to be hard to find music. There's so many
Yeah,
excuses for not playing music by women, right? Like we just have been
absolutely.
educated to not, and so we just wanted to knock down at least that little
Barrier.
barrier of
Yeah, thank you
finding
for
it on
doing that.
MSLP. Yeah, so anytime.
Cool. That's
Anyway,
my next project. I mean.
okay, yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you so much. Is there anything else that you would like everyone to know before we
Hmm.
call it a day.
I mean, I'm sure as soon as we press done, I'll think of something. But
You can always leave it in the comments.
yeah, thank you. No, I just so appreciate your enthusiasm and your support for what we're trying to
I
do.
think that there are a lot of us out there who will really appreciate what you're trying to do.
Aw, so fantastic.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, you can just, as a starting point, look for Piano Music She Wrote on Instagram, on Twitter, on YouTube, and the website, pianomusicshewrote.com.
Awesome.
All right.
Okay, everyone, check it out for sure. Thank you so much, Sandra, for doing this. And thank you, everyone,
Okay.
for watching.
Thank you, everyone. Take
Thank
care.
you. Take care. Bye.
Ciao.